Good evening, everyone. This is Pradeep Mal, Ambassador of Change from GETI, the Global Education and Training Institute of Lucknow. We are the premier institute for training teachers and principals in India and many parts of the world. And we have many in-service and pre-service programs. For more information, please go to 740-840-1000. Right now, you are on our Disruptive Education platform, provided to us by our mentor, Dr. Sunita Gandhi. And on this platform, we have met with and interacted with more than 1,600 educators from India and all over the world. And this evening, we have for you Mr. Shubhadip Das. He's the founder of TS Edge from Mumbai in Maharashtra. He has more than 20 years of cross-functional experience in the areas of e-commerce, business development, social media branding, and creative works, investment banking, treasury, forex, settlement process, design and management, uh, project management, operations, team management, training, and grooming. Uh, he's a He's the founder of TS Edge, which is a 360-degree e-commerce consulting firm where he manages clients' entire e-commerce portfolio on a revenue sharing basis. And he specializes in developing a robust and high volume pipeline for his clients' businesses. He also enjoys reading, traveling, and cooking. He will be speaking to us today on brain mapping through fingerprint analysis. So thank you, Shubhadip, for being with us, and over to you.
Very good evening, Pradeep ji, and thank you all viewers. It's a great honor to be with you all today. So, and Pradeep, that Pradeep ji introduced with me in a great way. So I would like to take the opportunity to share this beautiful idea with you all, which we call as brainography. Uh, it is a systematic analysis of your brain, how it is mapped, how it functions, how we react, how we accept energy, how we pass it across. So it is completely a behavioral pattern of a human being which is controlled by the brain. So as we know, brain is the heart of our all actions. Basically, if you say it's a way we move, it helps us to move. It is the processor. If our body is controlled, think like a robot or a machine, brain is our processor. With it's the signal of brain we move. If the brain doesn't function, we can't do anything. So this brainography is a very interesting topic where we do a neuroscientific evolution of a human being. Now, how we do it, we cannot map a brain in a naked eye or just doing some kind of paper test or putting some sort of wear and do mapping on an x-ray. It is not possible because they are very minute things inside our brains which cannot be mapped in such a way. Now, how we do it? Now, God has made us in such a way. There is a beautiful sync between our fingerprints. These fingerprints are exactly mapped the way our brain is mapped. Now, the right hand, the fingerprints are mapped exactly the way our left brain is, and the left hand is exactly mapped the way our right brain is. So, this is the beauty of our own body, which has been evaluated by multiple times in different way. So, what we do, there are certain characteristics of our fingerprints. They come with certain terms, we call them whorls, we call them arcs, which is a very technical thing. So we first take a 3D view because for a naked eye, if you see, we just see the tip of the finger. Like for an example, if you have your Aadhaar card, if you see, you just give a thumb or your this thing, which is just the center point to identify. Or you open today, we have this mobiles which opens with your fingerprint. But that's not the whole fingerprint. Our fingerprint starts from one corner of the nail to the other corner of the nail to the top of the nail. So it has a three-dimensional kind of thing which we need to capture. So what we do, we take the complete scan of all three parts of every finger. So the total 10 finger into three, we take 30 complete mapping and we do analysis systematically with the system, and then we get certain figure and facts, and we understand how the brain is mapped in the human body. Now, if you see, there are different part of a human body which can be identified. Now, for an example, left side of our brain is responsible for our interpersonal relationship. It controls the logical mind. It also controls our natural tendency to react and linguistics, as well as fine motor, which is a technical thing. And the right brain is also responsible for our 2D and 3D imagination, our musical abilities to hear and visualize things, and also interpersonal relationship. And something is very important is called gross motor, which controls the energy level of our body. Now, for an example, I'll just give you what is gross motor. Like it is scaled between 140 and it goes up for a regular person. Like for an average American or European person, the gross motor score would be anything between 140 to 155 to 160. That is their energy level. But for Asians like Indian, Chinese, Korean, Japanese, our average gross motor skill are above 160. So if you see, Asian people are more energetic and more active actually than American and Europeans in terms of physical activities. So that is something, it's depends. So when we get a score which is nearing 190, 200 or above, a person gross motor score, we will see that person is very energetic. That person will never sit in one place for more than 2 minutes, or even if he's in something, doing something, he will keep on looking here and there because their energy level is extremely high. So what is happening? That energy, that oxygen, and the neuron flow is very high in his brain. So this is how we do evolution. Now, how this evolution can help in our life? Uh, Now, how, first of all, you have to understand how this brain and this psychology is developed completely in a human being. When a kid is in its mother's womb, between the 13th to 23rd week, the whole brain and the fingerprints they develop equally. So that 10 month is very critical for a child as well as for the mother. So whatever phenomenon happens, the thought process of the mother, the way mother reacts, the happy or the sorrow moments, there is a lot of impact in the development of the kid because they get recorded kind of thing. So that is why we always tell our from very ancient that the mother has to be kept always happy when the kid is in the womb. So when we do analysis for a kid, it really helps us to understand okay, how we will help the kid to grow. Now, let's take an example. When a kid grows up, say for an example, he turns 5 year old, and then we start hunting for a school. So what we first do, we first found what is the best school in our area, what is the most famous school in the area, what is the school where our surrounding, all the society, people, our neighbors has put our their children on. But we never realize what is the way our children understand or reacts to things, which is very important for from the beginning to ensure that our children are in the right study pattern. Now, how it works? Now, India has four different boards: state board, CBSE, ICSE, and international IGC board. Now, if you ever observe, all the boards have a different pattern to teach it. I'm not talking about the syllabus, I'm talking about the teaching pattern. Now I studied from a state board government school where I have like 70-75 students in my class, and one side of the class, the wall is completely turned to the blackboard, and our teacher comes, he will write certain things or draw certain things, and he will explain, and he will order, kind of, he will ask us all to focus on that, and then he will demonstrate the things. So that is one pattern. Second, for an example, CBSE. CBSE is more like a content driven syllabus where they split their material into small parts and start giving to the students, and they teach them in such a way. ICSE a little differently they treat. They have audio visual models. They also give more of a self assessment to their students. So that is one pattern they follow. And the fourth pattern, which is the IG or the International Council, it is very much of a self-learning where the teachers clarifies the doubt in terms of complete demonstration from the very beginning. So IGCSE students are a different type of student where they start things on their own and they only go back to a teacher when there is a doubt, and they develop a pattern where the same thing follows in their life. Now take an example of a kid who understand things and all only with a graphical thing, which is very much in line with a state board pattern. And we put them into a IG or a ICSC where it is not the way it's been taught. The children has to work, not only the children, its parents, the tutors, everyone has to put thrice or four times the energy to the student to make them understand, because that student will not be able to immediately link, because the pattern which goes inside his or her brain is differently made. So it is very important from the very beginning that how our child understands things in a pattern. I'll quickly give an example. When I did my pornography, like in the month of October, so I was having a discussion with my counselor who has a good 8-9 years of experience in pornography, and especially he is into counseling of kids. So he was telling me, Shubhadip, I have faced a very interesting case where I did counseling for one of my friends' son, and she herself is a counselor, but she was finding it very difficult to make her son sit and study for a longer time, because every time the kid is sitting, in 10 to 15 minutes his attention is getting diverted or he is losing the focus. So again he has to start from the beginning, or somebody has to sit next to the kid to ensure that he is studying. Then the pornography thing has been done on the kid, and we come up with a very good finding that whenever there is a free wall or a big space in front of the kid, or some object has been kept in front of it, whether even it is the curtain or something, some photograph and all, the kid goes automatically to a dreamy kind of hallucination mode, and his concentration from the book is completely going out. So what we did counseling, because the mother is himself was a counselor, so we did uh, thorough understanding of the whole thing, and we kind of thought, okay, let's do this. So we put that guy in front of a wall. Its setup was done in front of a wall which is much darker than a bright, and all. We did not have any object in front of the kid, so he will only see the book and the wall, and within 2 to 2.5 to 3 months the whole pattern of the kids completely changed, and he was fully concentrating for half an hour to 45 minutes at a stretch. And that is like very interesting thing happened for this thing. Now I'll give you certain examples of how we find out uh, the skills of person Now, for an example, let's take an example of a very famous and very well-known, our most beloved, respected Dr. Abdul Kalam, ex-president of India. Now, he is a person who has extremely high capacity of his right brain, where his 3D imagination is extremely high. That is the reason he was able to develop the rockets or able to think like a machine, how it goes inside and all. So that is the characteristics which drives, the success. Or let's take an example of our everyone's favorite Sachin Tendulkar. He has very or Virat Kohli. Now, what was special about them other than their gifted skill on cricket or their practice dedication? They have extremely strong 2D visualization. They can see the ball the moment the ball has been pitched. They can react much faster than other people. Now, maybe there are other cricketers who are very good, or people who are developing, but they have certain talent which is inborn to them. They can identify and react very swift way compared to other people. Or you take an example of Makbul Fida Hussain, the famous painter artist. So his imagination skill of 3D as well as 2D was extremely high. So that's the reason, even with a coal, he can create master class, paintings like that. So this is how it helps. Now, if you just start with a kid and you go on, this brainography thing can help each and in every individual in our life. Now, let's start with the kids, which I have explained. We can understand if you do a brainography of a kid, we can understand how the kid reacts, what makes him angry, what makes him happy. Instead of observing, we definitely as a parent we can observe and understand certain things. But there are certain things God has made them. So if we can understand that this is the way the kid function, we can tend to avoid certain things. We can talk to the way which will never make them angry. So the relationship with the kid and the parent will be nice. Same way we can develop this kind of skill within them because this is how it's been done. Now take an example of how it will help to other people, like a couple compatibility. Now we all check kundali. Some people check, blood reports, everything. How kundali helps. It could be a thing to debate and all, but I'm not getting into all the details. Don't you think even scientifically we should know that we are compatible to each other or not? Like, for an example, we do a compatibility check of the bride and groom is going to be, and we realize that one person is very high when he speaks, and the lady cannot tolerate higher volume or something like that. So after some time, it's bound to have some problem between them. They're bound to have arguments which will develop. "Okay, I can't tolerate higher sound," and the guy is used to talking at a higher level. Likewise, these things I think is very much important nowadays because we should have a couple compatibilities for a better managed life. It is not that only the compatible people will get married to each other. Not. It is the way we find that these are the things. If we keep in mind, we can have a much better and a happy married life. Secondly, if you see how it can help for a career. Now, we when I started my passed out my 10th and 12th and all. So we have very limited career options in terms of the place I grew up. Everyone wanted to be either an engineer or a doctor or a chartered accountant. So we had only three options. Though there were many options, but we have been made to think कि ये तीन ही है भाई. आज के आगे आप गए तो you are not considered someone. But nowadays even a YouTuber is so famous just because of the content or the liking of the people, he can earn much more than even a successful engineer or doctor. So If we realize okay, a kid is doing very good interpersonal skill or his communication skill is very good, but he's not very good on mathematics or analytics skill is not that great, will we be pushing that kid for a turning engineer? Never, right? Or someone where so the gross motor skill is very low and where he has to take swift action. You know, like the doctors who are surgeons, they have a nerve of the steel. They're cutting us, doing the operation, opening the heart. You need to have very strong ability within we that your hand doesn't shake and all. What you are doing, you do it precisionally well, and you realize that the kid is studying very well, but that energy level is somewhere not really great. So can we think that that person can ever be a really great doctor? It is he may pass the doctor, but when it comes to that becoming a top surgeon or something, they cannot. Let's take an example. Someone wants to study or become a charter accountant, and that person is pathetic on numbers because they get confused when the numbers on analytics are not that great. But his interpersonal skill or intrapersonal skill or the linguistics is very good. So what will you do? Will push him to become a charter accountant or a finance professional, or will try them to put some which is like a vocabulary or his personal skill driven. Even nowadays, the news anchors, like I said, the YouTubers, there are many, see, life coaches. There's so many options. There are 1,001 options. So why we have to choose those options after passing certain stream in graduation that I studied commerce and I'm doing this because see, I studied engineering, but I only worked as engineer for 1.5 years and I turned an investment banker because somehow later I point in my life I realized I'm very good with numbers, the coding and all. I am not very good because I do not have that visualization of a program, how it will look on the screen after developing and all. I can't do that. I did not realize that, but after I did pornography, then I realized that when I shifted to investment banking accidentally, I was very successful because my analytical skill, especially on numbers and certain things, was very strong. So I was good on finance, but I did study engineering. I did not even know what was debit credit when I started working in the commerce field. So that is how it happens in our day-to-day life. So this the whole concept is I would say it's a weapon for us to make betterment for our own life, give our kids a very good path for their future to grow instead of we getting confused कि ये बड़ा होके कैसा react करेगा क्या होगा. We can set certain guideline for them कि बेटा तू ये चीज follow करेगा because तेरा skill set के साथ ये मैच करता है, तेरा behavioral state के साथ ये मैच करता है. So nowadays, like I was very fond of playing football. I don't know, I could have become a professional footballer, but my parents said football is definitely good, but first I need you to have a first class because if I don't get 60%, the surrounding I grew up, everyone will stare at you like, "अरे ये कहाँ से आ गया यार, इसको first class भी नहीं मिला." Because I grew up in an area where we have only medical people. Well, my mother was in medical field, so all doctors or engineers. So they have 80, 90% score, and if I by chance go down 60%, so they will see matlab, ye kahan se, it's not even fit for that kind of environment. So though I was good in football and wanted to have a serious football career, I said no baba chalo, I'll start study. But nowadays if you see the footballers, the cricketers, even the kabaddi players, their potential is identified much earlier and what they're making, they are way forward than any other people. So that is things are changing and we can streamline the whole thing. Now if I give you a real life example, just think 10 to 15 years back, where was China in terms of athletics or sports overall? They were nowhere. For an example, if there's Olympic, first 60 to 65% of the medals, the gold medals or the silvers, will go to the by default into US or some European countries, and US may 90% will be taken when it comes to athletic or the swimming or the boxing and all, especially the people with Afro American background, because they're very physically strong and God gifted ability. They used to get the maximum medals and all. So I think
I think Shubhadip is having some problems uh, with his Wi-Fi, so he'll probably be coming in. So just wait, please, for a minute or two, and I'm sure he'll be back.
so am I audible, sir? Hello,
Yeah, you're audible. Please carry on.
sir, am I
Shubhadip,
audible?
yeah, you're audible. You're audible,
Uh,
Sudeep. Please carry on.
okay, sorry, sir, got little disconnected due to the internet. Okay,
No
so I
problem.
just
Carry
want
on.
to share one a very interesting and a live example in front of you guys. I don't know where exactly I left, so I want to repeat one thing. Like just consider Olympics, where we have all the sports in the world and all the athletes of the world gathering together every fourth year and all. So even till 15 years back, 15 to 17 years back maximum, who were the leaders in America, Britain, Germany, France, Brazil? They were the leaders because they're physically big and they have a big pool of African people who also support their countries, which is who are very physically strong and gifted. But suddenly, what happened in last 15, last or if you see last three Olympics, China is number one, Japan is very next to them, or Korea is having like tons of medals with them. What made them do suddenly that they are even overtaken the American, the British, the German, French? They are doing these methods. They are doing brain analysis of their kids from a very early stage. And what is happening in this? They're identifying ye bacha very high growth motor, his 2D skill is very high, his energy level is extremely good. So they are putting them into sports. They are not forcing them to be an engineer or a doctor or a CA or whatever. So they exactly know from the very beginning that this kid can really shine in his or her respective field if he is given that freedom to study or grow in this path only, because that is how his body is been designed. So this is what I think we should really consider, that when it comes to our kids, we should follow and holistically do this to understand कि हमारा बच्चे का और हमारा खुद का body, brain, how it has been developed and how we react, because we don't control our emotions. Even our control the emotion is by our brain, and we need to know how our brain reacts. If we know that, we are done. Now, even if I think a very in a different way, we can do very good job in corporate fields. Now we are developing a team. Now one company is opening, they need people. Now people write a lot of things in their resume. That I have managed 10 people, 100 people, 200 people in my previous company and all. And when we do a brain analysis of that person, and we are hiring a senior manager or a VP role, and we realize that that person is very poor on interpersonal skill, he's getting very angry Even someone points at him. So do you think he can handle a team of 200 people? No way. You are hiring someone as a developer of your website, like a company who makes very good websites for their, I'm giving just a basic example, for their clients. That person may be knowing how to do coding, or how to do, take some copy paste from all these free sites, but he is down on his 2D and 3D imagination. He can never deliver a proper creative content. So this system can also help the HR, any corporation, to, you know, fine tune the skill set of their employee, help them recruit in a proper way, grow them. They can identify that this guy is very good, he can be a future manager, and this guy could be very good on as a developer. He can develop very good softwares for us. Or a person who can manage the people, who can do very good sales. The people could be very good in presentation to the, he might not be a very good coder or a developer, but when it comes to giving a presentation to the client, he can be very good because his presentation skill is very good. Because for an example, I was working a good 12 years only with systems. So I had my team and people. I was having three monitors looking at, stock market, foreign exchange and all. I never talked during my entire 10-11 hours of the day outside my colleagues and just say, "ए, इसको भाई इसको अप्रूव कर दे, उसको दे दे, ऐसा उसको दिया कि नहीं." So my interpersonal skill sets never developed. My communication was at a standstill at a same level until I started speaking to clients, and then I realized that yes, and I was always scared of doing sales or any kind of presentation because I was not used to it. I was only talking to, keyboards, giving instruction के ये वहाँ पे पैसा move हो रहा है वहाँ से ये आ रहा है, that's all. But when I left my job and I started my business, I had no choice because nobody is going to give me sales. I have to do myself. I started meeting people, I started talking, and then I realized, yes, I also can communicate well, and that barrier broke. Then I literally realized, okay, I am a decent communicator. I started following people, how the most successful people, how they talk. I started reading. So I have understood certain things in my own, and I started working on it. And when I did this bibliography in last year, October, there were certain things which came very nice, and I just loved it. I would love to share my own thing. If you observe me, I am also not the place who is sitting relaxed and talking. I'm also continuously moving. That sometimes my friends or my family member makes fun. Okay, he's like a jumping jack. Even I'm sitting in a place and working, I'll be moving my body because my gross motor skill is very high. I have 193 as my gross motor skill. My score is 30, more than any average person. So my energy level is so high, then it will never allow me to sit in one place for a longer time. Though I'm working, I have full concentration, so I'll just keep on moving my body, which will come down my energy level. It will balance. That's how I am designed. That's how my body, God made me. I can't ignore, I can't change, no matter whether I do meditation, I do anything, because my brain functions. With meditation or certain things, I can change my behavioral pattern, I can change my thinking pattern, but I cannot change my brain. It is the way I am designed. Now, for an example, you are driving, you buy a petrol car, you put diesel on it. Of course, it will drive, but after some time, what will happen? The engine will combust. Straightforward. So that is how we need to know if my body, how it reacts. It's like a petrol engine or a diesel engine, or it is a CNG feed or an EV nowadays. So this is how we think. And one more thing I'd like to tell you, like a couple of just interesting thing which was found during my counseling. So my counselor was a very nice person where average counseling of us takes an hour. We give time to the people or the parents to answer all the queries. And my counseling was very long because I was his friend. So he explained me in a deeper way how it works and all. So he told Shubhadip, when you drive, I think you never look straight. I said yes, because I know the fact is I never look straight. It is not that I go and bang the car which is in front of me or some other person, but I have the ability to drive straight, but I still look here and there. That is the way I am designed. So he said, yeah, this is something. So I'll advise you when you drive in highway, don't drive in night. Daytime you can do, but it is advisable. Do not drive in the night in the highway. You may end up having an accident. That is one advice. And he also said, with your score and brain mapping, we can also find certain things about our body. He said you might have a tumor in future in your body. I was a little taken back. Yeah, I heard about tumor and all, so I was a little scared again. Then I forgot. And in January, I had some ENT issues. I was not able to breathe properly, and I went for a checkup. And I was detected with a disease called sleep apnea, where my respiratory system chokes from inside. And when we did all the tests and CT scan and all, so I realized my nose was blocked from inside. And March I underwent a surgery. So that person is not an astrologer, and he didn't know me like in detail. We knew each other professionally. He don't know me from the beginning or my childhood friend. He's not my childhood friend. How he got to know that I am prone to a tumor? It's the school which helped me, and it was miraculous. Like I found that yes, whatever he said or whatever is the founding of the school, it is completely working. I cannot say ki whatever is written 100%. No, it doesn't happen. But I actually know. Now I know my strengths, my weaknesses, my improvement areas, and my threats. So if a human being or a parent or a couple or the HR or the corporate who hires knows the person's ability, disability, strengths, weaknesses, behavioral pattern, interaction method, don't you think we can better ourselves? The whole world will be benefited. So this whole thing we are very serious to take to the next level. I'm not doing, or none of my friends who are all involved in this whole process, we are not just doing it for a commercial purpose. We are doing for more of a awareness. It can definitely help, definitely can help anyone's life to change, to do better things. And the more we get to know the more we get to know about our own body, our mind, our abilities, our reactions, actions or reactions both, I am sure everyone would love to change and make it better. So that's something I shared with you guys. I can take questions from you. There are questions coming on.
So, thank you, Shubhadip, very much for that very interesting talk on brain mapping through fingerprint analysis. Now, how accurate are you? Or do you find yourself when you analyze these fingerprints? And what is the science behind it?
Okay, so the science is very simple. First, we need to take an accurate scan of our fingers on all three dimensions. So I'll just bring my finger near to the camera. So this is the middle portion, and we have to take from one corner to the other corner. So we take three snap of or three scan, and we feed it to the system. There are lines and there are patterns which identify certain characters, and those characters have certain behavioral or certain intrinsic way which a human behaves. So it is a very psychological thing. It is not that we have developed it overnight. There were companies who worked before us also. There were the universities who has been working this for last 30-35 years. What we did, we put together this fact, and we tested this for years. And the people who are doing, they are all top psychologists who have been into this field nothing less than 10 years, right from child counseling to marriage counseling to any kind of psychological counseling, they are into it. So we did more and more tests, we did in ourselves, we did randomly, and then we started making the changes as it needed, and we come up with this. So it is more a pattern driven, where we generate scores, and these patterns are so interesting because every pattern has a combination attached, and that combination gives us a score, and that score leads to a behavioral identity for a human.
Okay, so uh, have you had any instances where your reading of the your analysis was not actually correct, and there was, and because of that, you discovered something?
Only when we have not got certain fingerprints correct, because some people has a little unclear fingerprints due to some something or the other. Their fingerprint cannot be scanned in a very proper way. So it never happened with us that we got a proper scan of the finger in three dimension and it went wrong. 90 to 95% of what we just give a score. Now, mind it, it is a 52 pages score with details we give. It is not चार पांच पांच पेज का नहीं. It is amazing. I can tell you from every score we explain what is what means. First of all, we made a presentation where it depicts that this means that, this means that, because this is going to help entire life, because you after 10 years the person comes back and again do brainography, the score does not change. He may be very successful thereafter. His behavioral pattern, success, everything changes, but the fingerprint and the score doesn't change. So we have to be very careful when we deliver it. So we give a complete elaborative report around 50 to 52 pages where they can refer. And especially when we do counseling for a kid, we always advise the parents to be present with the kid. So there is a very nice discussion, participative discussion, so everyone gets benefited.
Very interesting. So, good evening, everybody. I hope you all learned something today. And I request you all to watch our detox, our disruptive literacy movement by Global Dream, which is an initiative by Dr. Sunita Gandhi since 2014. This is to ensure everyone's participation by a people's movement in helping India achieve total literacy and numeracy. It's a very noble cause. Each one teach one, and those of us who can afford to teach more than one should be doing so. On this, we have several talks every day, and for more information, you can go to 7408401000. So, good evening, everybody. Goodbye, and thank you so much, Shubhadip.
Thank you so
See
much,
you
Pradeep
again
sir, for this
tomorrow.
lovely opportunity, and thank you all for watching us. Good day,
Most
good
welcome.
evening.